I've been working on creating these primitive figures the last few months, and I thought I'd do a video on how I do them. I start with basic shapes. In this case, I'm using a 1/2-inch square bar for the torso. And I use a round bar for the head, neck, and limbs. I use 16 gauge wire to approximate the length and position of arms and legs. I cut materials a bit longer because I recut or grind them to size later. I prototype the angles of arms and legs with the wire. This makes it easy to bend the thicker materials when I'm ready to do so. I built an adjustable bending fork to bend and adjust each part. I try to make sure to have enough length on each part so that I can get a vise grip on it for enough bending leverage. And I can use the 16 gauge wire as a template, and of course each part for comparison as I bend them. Limbs don't have to be bent at exactly the same angle. We humans aren't like that. With the parts cut, shaped, and cleaned, I can start welding. I weld the head and neck and set it aside for later. I found it's important to plan the order of welding parts considering their position so that they won't get in the way of subsequent welds. Legs are welded to the body first. I mark the insertion points so that each limb is welded at a similar location on each side of the torso. Parts are clamped, tacked, and welded. Now for the arms. So here's what we have, a headless figure. And now, as Barbie Parsons says, it's about more cutting, more grinding, and more welding to fill in the various gaps. Here I have to cut off the ends of the arms to properly size them. Back to the head, neck, and grinding the neck so it'll sit at a slight inclination. And then I position it and weld it to the body. Last, I weld an iPhone shape to the hands. It may not look exactly straight, but who holds their iPhone exactly straight, right? In order to achieve an upright leaning position, I decided to weld the figure to a piece of angle iron. I couldn't figure out how to easily clamp the figure in place, so I used some wire to hold it while I tacked it. Whatever works, I guess. To make the figure completely stable, I welded a small piece of flat bar to the bottom of the angle iron. For this piece, I used a mixture of beeswax, linseed oil, and mineral spirits to coat the body, and I really like the way the finish looks.